Welcome to the podcast where our reading habits are unhinged.
And so are we.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Miranda.
And we're marginally unwell. And today, we have our first guest.
We're excited.
I'm pretty excited. We are going to be talking about a book that our guest picked. But before we get into that, to address our background, we have a change of scenery. We are updating our setup here, and it's a little bare. We're going to fix it. But we're really excited to have the bookshelves.
Yes. Join us along the way for our upgrades.
See the evolutions. But today we are talking that time I got drunk and saved a demon. There's spice, demons, chaos, and one very tired baker.
But before we dive into the book, let's get to know our very first guest. Alyssa brought us this delightfully unhinged book. So, Alyssa, we know your name's Alyssa.
Now that we've said it twice. So why don't you tell us basically who you are and what kind of reader you are?
A little history of who you are. A little snip.
Okay. How you got involved in this podcast.
Well, how I got involved is the fact that I live here for a while. You're my sister-in-law,
So family obligation.
Yeah, family obligation, and the fact that, out of, most other people, you knew that I could at least read the book pretty quickly when you asked, which is true.
Not to call out any future guests or anything.
Oh my gosh.
My bad.
Yeah.
So yes, you're my sister-in-law, and so what kind of reader would you say you are? You like vibes first, very plot-driven, romance, gremlin,
Not really the romance.
chaos reader.
Yeah, a little bit.
What got you into reading too? What got you into that flow?
Actually, it was in middle school, and it was an old middle school friend who introduced me to, some people call it Wattpad, and some people call it Wattpad. And yes, that opened up a lot of very interesting doors.
Sure
Although I don't use that website very much anymore, or
If
that
you
app.
know, you know.
Yeah,
The readers who know.
yeah, and if you know that you usually upgrade to 803, which gets even crazier.
So that just told you probably more than you needed to know about Alyssa.
So yeah. So what kind of reads then? If they're not necessarily books, if you read a lot of that. So is it more like you read more for the characters that are involved in the story, or is it the actual story? What gravitates you to the reads that you read?
It's usually definitely more the characters, because I do have various fan fictions, and usually it's a pairing that I follow. And so I'll have a lot of the same, I read a lot of Batman fan fiction and Harry Potter, but it's because I usually have a pairing, and if I like
So you have a history with the characters.
Yeah,
So you
essentially.
follow character fanfics.
Yes, although sometimes if it's just a really good story, it doesn't have to be necessarily about that character or the pairing. But it's got to be really good, otherwise I'm probably just going to skip over it.
You're like, So, what's your go-to comfort read or your most reread? I don't want to say book, because if you don't,
Well, she does read
you do
books,
reread
too.
books, yeah.
Just
So like
more often.
between that and books, like what is your go-to?
It is definitely my fan fictions. There are a couple that I've read, I don't know how many times, although it definitely depends on if I'm wanting to read one of my really long ones or if I just want something really short, because some of my short ones I've read them 15, 20 times since I found them.
So we know what you're rereading. So what is a book or a genre that you just absolutely will not read, no matter who recommends it, how many people recommend it? You're just like, no, I'm not doing it.
I don't really like history, straight history.
Oh,
Not necessarily it's set in a historical time. No,
So
I
historical
mean
fiction is fine.
Yeah, historical nonfiction is not really my style.
Yeah.
I agree. It's a little hard.
I'll read it if I have to, but that was normally applied to school.
Will have to if I must.
I don't have to. I don't want to.
We get it. We get it. Do you usually like romance in the books or reads that you do, or do you tolerate it for the plot? Or how do you feel about the spice in books? Do you prefer it? Do you can go without it?
Yeah, I can go without it. It definitely depends. Like I said, when I choose my fan fictions, a lot of times it's based on a pairing, but it doesn't have to be like, oh, straight romance. I just want it to at least be acknowledged, usually, because that's why I chose it. But a lot of the times it's very usually action-packed. I also have a habit of looking for stories where it's like everyone thinks this one main character is weak and then they turn into a badass, and I'm like, yeah, I appreciate those.
Nice.
That is a good one.
If you had to describe your reading taste in 3 unhinged vibes or tropes, what would they be?
I have a minor in the house.
Oh my
Oh
god.
gosh. Our first guest is a little more unhinged than we intended. But
Okay, so I can
that's
go
what we're here for.
What are just go with tropes?
gay.
Okay.
I guess there quite often is the hurt/comfort sort of vibe that usually goes on. Can definitely take some tears, but I don't want it to end in a bad way. So it's got to have a happy ending after I get my heart ripped out.
So you like to be like put through it, but then like everything's fine.
Yes, it's got to turn out
together.
fine end.
Can't just leave it in a mess. It's
No.
gotta be well rounded.
No. It's got to be real
One
hard.
day my life will end up
One
like
day.
Here's to hoping. Okay. Why did you choose this book? What got you into this genre or this? I'm not sure. What got you to choose this book?
That's all we can say about that.
What? Out of left field for sure. The first time I seen it, I was like, "What is this?"
Well, one, I did like the cover. I don't know if we have the
It was an. I'll insert it here.
here. Let me just do it.
I can do it in
Out of the
edits.
frame?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. It goes
gonna go around.
So I don't normally judge a. Well, okay, I take that
That's
back.
what they're there for. Okay.
Why does this topic keep coming up? I
telling
feel
you.
like we've talked about this a lot in the
Yes.
last 2 days.
Sometimes
Books are supposed to be judged by their covers. Okay. Are they always great? No. But that's what they're there for. Anyway, you
but-
like the cover?
I did like the cover, and I thought the title was pretty hilarious. And I do also have, on occasion, I get fixes of, I guess you could say, demonic tropes.
Okay.
Where a character is usually a demon. And then, of course, when I read the summary, I was like, this sounds pretty hilarious.
Okay, so you thought it was like a romance comedy.
Yes.
Rom-com. Why do you say it like
rom-com.
that?
I don't know, girl. You said it.
Oh,
The rom-com.
rom-com.
With
A
demons.
fantasy
With
rom-com.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It just like never happens. So
Well, and fantasy is also one of my favorites, so it just really worked out.
What is it? A romantasy.
yeah, but that's not. I mean, there are funny moments, but it's not.
For a
It's not really
romantasy?
rom-com fantasy.
This was a rom-com set in a fantasy D&D.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
It was definitely a D&D. I was like, there's way too much modern happening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it
was
was very
definitely
modern.
interesting. Yeah, I was having some thoughts. Oh,
Jumping into the actual book now that we got a little information about you. So, what were your first thoughts about Cinnamon? Did her voice and humor click with you right away? Or how did you feel about her, like, starting out in the book?
It did, well, I shouldn't say necessarily clicked with me, but I definitely found it hilarious. It was kind of like, instead of watching a TikTok, reading one instead. It was very much...
TikTok.
It was very much written like that, especially whenever they started talking and some of the things that they would say. I was like, this is straight out of a video, like a TikTok video, which I thought was
With
hilarious.
that context, are you meaning like modern? Like how they speak, or what do you mean by that?
It was...
Or like that short, like goldfish brain?
Yes, very much like a modern goldfish. It was a modern
I'm
goldfish.
glad you got there, because I was like, our FYPs are very different.
Yeah.
Because I see what you're saying with that, in that context, that, like, short form, for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely thought it was funny in, like, the cringiest way.
Yeah.
That was, like, my
Yes.
first kind of impression of
There was
her.
that
And, like,
too.
she was like the same for
She
me.
was the most.
Yeah.
She was so dramatic. Her her first impression was she was like hungover, drunk, talking to her friend
And wanting cheese.
wanting cheese from
Came
her
up
friend
again.
named Bree. And that's a cheesemonger, and she had goat roped her friend to coloring their hair pink for whatever reason. So she's like
Yeah.
She had a very modern twist of how like her vocabulary was. I don't want to like because other characters weren't too modern.
I guess. I feel
Speaking-
like, I got more fantasy vibes from
The other
characters versus
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, it's almost like she was set from like
Somewhere else.
the
Just like
Alpha.
plopped right down in there.
Just plopped into that setting, and she was just like here for it. So, how did the blend of humor, fantasy, and romance work for you? Too much? Just right? Not enough?
I actually think it went pretty well because I had read some comments before I decided on the book, and a lot of people were talking about how spicy and it was and whatnot, and I didn't really see that until almost the end of the book.
Yeah,
It's like,
I didn't even.
yeah, it was mostly a rom-com set in fantasy, which I actually really appreciated, rather than just being full-on smut, essentially.
There's some story. It's not just.
There was
that.
more story than I was expecting, but it was nicely expected once I got to the end.
Yeah. How did you feel about it?
I do feel like it was pretty well balanced in like all those areas. Yeah, I was expecting spicy scenes to come earlier on, but I was kind of glad that they didn't because
Yeah.
I kind of enjoyed the like goofy
Yeah.
beginning. of
I
everything.
agree. Like whenever she was like fighting herself into liking him, and she was going with the point system, and she's like, "Earn this many points, and I'll be your bride," or something.
Yeah, the 1,000 points.
She's like,
I was like,
She's
what
like,
an
"Don't-"
arbitrary number too. Like where, and like
"What a point system! Like,
Yeah.
what? How many points do
Here's
I
this
get?"
random number that you need to get to. Also, I'm not going to tell you what will get you points or how many points you will earn
Exactly.
by doing those things that I didn't tell you you could do
Yeah.
to get 1,000 that I just made up.
There's at one point, I think they were in a cave or something, and he had his shirt off. He was like, I don't know what he was doing. He was doing something very mundane. And she's like, oh my God, he's so fine, his abs. And I need to go and cool off real quick. And she goes, I'll give you 200 points if you just leave me alone for a minute.
Oh yeah,
Remember that?
Yeah.
So I really like the, what is it called? The burn?
Slow burn.
Slow burn, where you like know it's coming, but like her inner monologue of like her fighting herself.
Obsessed
Yeah.
with it, but was like no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't.
So speaking of him being Fallon, how did you feel about the dynamic between Sin and Fallon? Did you enjoy the spicy scenes, or did anything take you out of the story?
So we never introduced Sin. So Cinnamon is the main character, but she goes by Sin.
Yeah, I think we said Cinnamon earlier,
Oh,
but
okay.
I didn't preface it with that's her nickname.
My bad.
Anyway, back to the question.
I mean, nothing ever really like took me out of it. I mean, it was just kind of, it was there. It was written well. Obviously, I've read much. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but it did fall. I think the times that it happened did, for the most part, work up into the right like times when it would hit.
Like it made sense that it
Yeah,
happened. It wasn't
like,
just
it
like
wasn't
they were
just-
throwing down.
Yeah, no.
every moment.
Which
Yeah.
I hate whenever
Yeah.
they do
There
that.
was like a build up to, oh,
Yeah.
okay, it's happening. And then, of course, it's happening. Which, of course, there was the build up to, oh, hey, it's going to happen. And then it didn't happen. And it was like, oh, okay. Which actually made it better because they weren't just like, boom, it happened. All right, let's keep going with it. It
Yeah.
was like, no, there was a point when they were like, no. It's
What do they
not.
call it in How I Met Your Mother? He talks about like the moment before, like you kiss them, the drum roll.
Oh.
It's like they talk about like is the drum roll like better than the actual kiss in that
Yeah.
instance. That's what it just made me think of when she said that. But
I never finished that show.
what?
I know.
First of all, side note, you need to finish that show.
It's a great show.
I see it like randomly.
It's been a hot minute since I've watched it, although.
So yeah, I would agree with that. My only thing, and this is just a personal thing, I guess. I don't know what it is, but there's something about See You Next Tuesday that just like, I hate it.
See you next Tuesday.
Just think about it 1 second. The word. Please don't make me say it. Okay. Anyway, when they say that word, hopefully our audience knows what I'm talking about. But when they say it, I just like get the ick.
The P word?
No. Think of the first letters of what I just said.
Oh.
Okay. So, for some reason, that just like, I hate it. And so I'm just like, ugh. I don't know why. The other one doesn't bother me at all, but it's literally that word.
I was gonna touch on this too because I felt like, I mean, I tend to read a lot of romance, and romance comes with spicy scenes, and I felt like when the spice hit or when she was talking about it was very vulgar.
I think that's
like,
what it was,
and it was
that's what,
overly vulgar.
and that's what that word. Like I associate that like very vulgar, and that's I think what I was getting. The other ones didn't bother me as much, but I feel like that was just like kind of
and it
I was like, ugh, every time I said it. It's like, please find another word.
The actual scenes where it was happening and what they were doing like was fine, but like the way that it was written, it wasn't ever, every time it was addressed, it was a P or a C.
Yes,
it wasn't ever like sometimes they every now and then it's like, is that the only word that you can describe that
that's
part?
That's how I felt too, because I was like, we need to branch out.
We need to expand your vocabulary.
If
Some
it
descriptive
had happened
words.
one time, I would have been like, okay, but it's fine, we're moving past it, because obviously whenever you have a lot of spicy scenes, word or some very like description of that is used over and over and over again, and so I feel like just using the same one, and then on top of that I just hate it, so I was like, I want to pass away. Like,
yeah, I agree. I got to the point where the way that it fell and the way that the spicy scenes happened, it was very within the book's, I want to say cadence, but flow.
yeah.
But whenever
I
they...
like how you were like doing that, and then she said
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was trying to get at.
I almost said wave, and I was like, that's...
But I don't know, whenever they got there, it was just very vulgar, and I was like, yeah. But I mean, it finally happened, so... So the next point, were there any side characters that you loved or wished that got more attention into the story?
I think it was pronounced Esha.
Her friend that was the pirate ship girl?
Yes, like the further on in the story, it went, or I went, whatever. The further on I read, the more I liked her character, because she was just like, all right. She went from, hating demons because, well, that's where she lived, and she was like, whatever, to being like, oh, I'm completely on your side. We're gonna fucking tear down the city. We're gonna go and steal a pirate ship. I've got 100.
She was down.
I was like, this is great.
she's like, we gonna bury some bodies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the whole time she had her hyena with her, which I do like hyenas.
The part when it was like talking about it, like laughing, was so funny.
Talking about it laughing?
The hyena laughing.
Yeah, I was thinking The Lion King, that guy, that one.
Yeah, Mufasa. That's what was like playing in my head too, for sure. I was like, I could see it, I could picture it.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree with you there. I really wish you show us more into it. I did really like that she immediately, not immediately, but she grew up with, I want to say almost like the interpretation of that demons were like bad, and she grew up with that history. But then as soon as she found out what was actually going on, she was able to change her mindset relatively quickly and jumped on the bandwagon of getting everything morally correct. I really wish she had more of her. I really liked her ruling the ship, and she's like, we're co-captains. And Cinnamon was like, I don't want to be a captain to no ship. She's like, I will be a captain to this ship.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. I will be.
She was great.
Yeah, I think that was a unanimous vote there. She was a lot of fun, and I wish we had more of her in the book. So, but speaking of kind of like not knowing what's going on, what did you think of the gods and their influence over the world? Did the twist about the goddess Marina, I'm not sure how you say her name, did the twist about the goddess surprise you?
Not really, because I have seen other similar things before where, dumb humans always end up being tricked by some higher power into, protecting the higher power. But It was a very good description. Every time they had to go and destroy one of her chalices or whatever, and there was such good description of the whatever creature was coming out of it to protect it. And usually, I feel like a lot of times villain-esque beings get kind of skimmed over because it's always about the hero and how they feel, not necessarily this is what this like creature I'm about to face looks like, to like make you go, oh, that's like horrifying or really gross, because a lot of the descriptions were kind of gross. I was like, ugh, I'd be more gross than terrified.
Oh my goodness.
Did it surprise you?
I really don't remember the twist.
About the fact that she was actually like a witch and she wasn't actually a goddess.
Well, yeah, they talked about that in the very beginning. Fallon was. That's what I was.
Yes, but I mean, it was still the twist that all the humans were tricked into thinking. Because you go in and she's talking about the goddess and like what they sacrificed to her and all the stuff, like the heroes, the chosen heroes and everything. And then he kind of flips things upside down and is like, hey, whoa, actually, she's a witch. So I know it wasn't very far into the book, but did it surprise you?
No. Well, I don't want to say yes or no, but it didn't give too much history or give too much of the setting of her being a goddess. Like
for you to feel like that it would have been wrong or
the
right,
twist happened too early in the book for it to feel like a twist.
I see.
As a reader, I mean, I could see how it's a twist for the characters and stuff, because essentially their entire lives are that she's their savior.
Right.
But as a reader, it didn't really resonate with me because it happened so early in the book and we didn't get her as this goddess figure.
Formulate an opinion one way or the other before he revealed that that's what was happening.
Yeah, it was set too early in the book.
Although they did sort of give it away when they said, oh yeah, because Cinnamon was saying there are a lot of people who want to be heroes, but a lot of people like her know that the heroes never come back. And so it was like, there was sort of this prevalence of, okay, well, how are they really heroes if they never actually come back as, doing this heroic victory? They never come back. So it's
amazing
like,
you're touching on that, because our next question, how did Cinnamon's journey from a reluctant baker, reluctant baker to accidental hero resonate with you, and what were your thoughts around that?
I did find it was amusing that the whole time she was like, I really don't want to do this, but I guess I'm going to do this because it's wrong, which really does make a good hero. You're like, I don't want to do this, but I know that the bad things that are happening are wrong and no one else is actually doing something about it or can't do anything about it. So, she certainly put her heart into it when she would get into the situations of, oh, it's time to be a hero, while still being like, I don't want to be.
Do you think she earned the hero status throughout the journey, being reluctant?
Yes, because even being reluctant, she was still helping people. I mean, she didn't have to. Yeah. A lot of times there are other heroes and the only thing they want to do is to fight the villain. But she was doing a lot more than that because, she helped Felix and Ambrose before even, finding the chalice in the town. She didn't have to do that. And she even said, oh, I'm going to be late if I help them, but she still helped them because she knew it was wrong. So,
yeah. I kind of liked that part of her character just because I know this isn't actually fantasy, but that's what I tend to turn to the most. And I will say, I just brought this up during our book club, how sometimes you get these heroes, specifically I notice with women heroes, when they're the main
heroines.
Yeah, that they tend to be like, I'm this badass girl, and I'm gonna fight everybody, do all the things, and you're just like, okay, relax. And so it was kind of funny. Yeah, exactly. You haven't even done anything yet, but you're the best of the best. And I'm like, okay, show me. And so it was kind of funny to see a character like this who was I really don't want any part of this, but I'm trying to keep my family alive, so I guess here we are. And I'm gonna hate every moment of it. And so, because I feel honestly, that's probably more relatable, because I feel most people, obviously we're not in a fictional world, but if we were put into these situations, I feel most people would be like, I hate this, but what choice do I have? So,
Because most people do want to live, and these are life and death situations. So you're like, I'd rather be anywhere else at the moment.
Yeah.
If I happen to save someone and myself accidentally, well, hooray.
Fantastic.
So, and then we kind of already touched on this, but we talked about how the book has very modern meme-like feel to it in a fantasy setting. Do you think that that style enhanced your overall reading or distracted from it?
I do think it enhanced it just because it was unexpected, but in a funny, cringy way. And it just made it better as it did. It made it better as a rom-com because everyone knows that, you know, some of the more modern stuff is just so cringy. But it's like so cringy that you can't help but laugh, which is what this did for me. I was like, this is so dumb, so ridiculous. Why did you say that? But then I'd still be laughing because I was like, I couldn't help it.
The secondhand embarrassment laugh.
Yes.
I was like, girl, what are you doing?
She's like, oh, you better go get the pheasant instead of just saying I love you. It's like,
Oh my god. How did you feel about the modern tone? Modern twisted tone.
Honestly, that was probably my favorite part about the book because it was so bad, it was funny.
Yeah.
It's so stupid, it was funny.
Yes. There was, at first, it really threw me off at the beginning of the book. I'm like, it really threw me off.
Yeah,
And
it was hard to get used to like reading like that, I
Yeah.
guess, in that format.
Yes,
Kind
because even like modern books now, like modern fantasy, is not worded like that.
of. Right.
It's just modern description and modern words. But it was very, what is it called?
It was
slang. It was very slang.
Yeah, there was a
There's
lot
of
of
slang terms, a lot of that, and it was, it was hard for me to get into it because I was expecting to read like D&D fantasy world romance, and then all of a
Which
sudden,
I mean, it was, but
Yeah.
then it was hard to picture the world, and then they're talking the way that they're
Yeah.
talking, and you're kind of like, what?
yeah,
What was happening?
yes.
But
Once I got used to it, and I was able to like mesh them together because in my mind they're like separate.
So I was able to merge the worlds.
Be able to do this. I agree, it was pretty funny. It was, I really like that twist in the book, the twist in that writing style. It was good. It gave modern D&D, because modern, like D&D, there's a
I
show.
feel like it's a D&D campaign
Yeah.
if like Gen Z was
Yes.
a DM.
Yes.
My full description of the book.
Yeah, it gave like,
everyone else is trying to give old vibes. So you got the DM over here just spewing out whatever.
yeah, it gave like Dimension 20 and Critical Role and Vox Machina in book form, and it was like, I really liked it.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed. That was a twist that I enjoyed. So speaking of things enjoyed, what was like y'all's favorite quote, funny movie, insult, or something that you read and was just like shocked by, or like was not expecting?
Hang on, let me think. You
Yeah.
got
No, every time someone makes that sound, I was like, this is more pressure. Now I don't know what's happening.
What was the question?
Oh, God.
Funny laugh out loud. I gotta say, my funny laugh out loud moment, and I know I've said this earlier, but was whenever she was seeing him undressed for the first time. It was a very mundane task, and she was like hyperventilating, and she's like, I can't be with him. He is a demon. He's holding my family hostage, and I gotta da da da. And then she's just like, oh, but those abs are da da da. She's like, damn, he's so sexy. I hate him, but damn, he's fine. And I'm like, girl, rein it in. I thought that really stuck with me there.
I think mine was the hyena laughing. I was like laughing at it the whole time, the way it was describing how it like would not stop laughing.
That was pretty good. I think mine was probably further in the end whenever they were found by Usha on the island, and that's it. And she yells back to the rest of the crew, they're doing it! And someone was like,
funny.
what? So she gets louder.
Yeah. Or where they're on the island and she like is like, I found them. And then she like sees and she's like, no, I
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah.
That was funny. So speaking about the very end, and I don't know, so I was honestly surprised that they got married and stayed married at the end, because this is like a multi-series, and every series is a different. And what's the next one? It's like that one time I got
drunk and yeeted a love potion at a werewolf. I think.
Yeah.
But they're different. They're like interconnected, but they're
but they're so
different. They follow different couples and stuff.
Oh, so it's a different couple?
I believe so.
The main character looks the same. I didn't like read.
that's just
I didn't read the
the art
synopsis.
style.
Yeah,
I think it's
okay.
just the
Art
art.
style.
I'm pretty sure they're like interconnected but separate.
I want to say that I read the description for the second one, and it wasn't the same characters or something like that.
Might just be like the same world. I don't know.
Actually, I think that's whenever. I think that is following Felix's story,
oh, okay.
which so I think
That's
It's
what I
like a
mean.
romance where it's like follows different couples and it's
Right,
but
yes.
they introduce them in the
Yeah,
previous
so like you
book.
don't have to read them in order,
Yeah.
but like if you do, you kind of like recognize characters
Yeah.
from the different ones.
Okay.
that's what I think.
I was
can't
like,
remember,
how is she
though.
married? She's with this other dude in the next one, and I was like, what a
And then they
life.
got a third
I
one.
thought it was crazy that it was just like, oh, we're married now,
Yeah.
and then
3-month honeymoon.
Well, just not even that, but just like we'll call it ceremony. That was not a ceremony. Or like
that was the
how they're
other-
like mated, and I was just like, okay. And then honestly, I was expecting them to be like, once they came back as heroes and saved her family, then she was gonna be like, let's have a wedding. But then they literally had the conversation, and he was like, oh, like we can if you want. She was like, nah, I don't want to. And I was like, oh.
Well, yeah.
So
they
that's
were
it,
like,
you're
they were
just
like,
married.
that's fine because we burned the church down.
Yeah, because he said, or she asked, or do we have to register with the church or whatever? He was like, we burned it down. Also, why did you do that? Why did
She
you
was
register
like,
with
I
them?
don't know. And I was
She's like, I never
that
asked.
That
And
was
he's like, that's why humans are so easy to trick. Because you don't ask any
like,
questions.
I never asked.
Oh man, I forgot about that. That was hilarious.
But for a second, that was making me think of like currently. I was like, wait, why does the government know when people get married?
Oh, because they register.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the book. It was goofy and crazy and a little unhinged and
Very
spicy and
unhinged.
all the things. So would you recommend this book to anybody?
There are a couple of people I probably would. Mostly because I think they'd get a kick out of how it's read.
Yeah. So
It
like
was-
specific
yeah.
personality type.
Yeah, it was amusing and it was an easy read. And I think some of the people that I know who I could probably get to read it, who would like the rom-com vibes, don't want to read something that's super long or difficult to read, which would make this pretty perfect.
Yeah, it was a very easy read, for sure.
Do you feel the same? Would you recommend it to people?
I would recommend it to like certain people.
I think everybody I'd recommend it to is sitting at this table. So
Yeah.
That makes it easy.
I have one other person. It is definitely a very specific,
very niched out for sure.
very niched out audience.
Are you planning to continue with the Mead Mishaps series?
Possibly, but I don't know. I guess it would kind of depend because this one was very amusing, and of course the next one's about the werewolf. So I feel like still
True.
falls with
Are there any other
vibes.
characters that you would like to see get their own book?
Definitely Pirate Captain Usha. I've got to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got
I
a
think that
whole,
would be fun.
she's got a whole crew of demons that
I think I
are
would
vying
like
for her
to-
attention.
Is Snake? Is
Ambrose?
Felix? Yeah. Is the
Ambrose
Ambrose
is
is
half
the-
snake.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would like maybe.
I would like his too.
Yeah.
Ambrose, I feel like he's just so Usha for sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. So, what kind of overall thoughts of the book? So, writing style, engagement, and like overall rating.
Like, did I like the writing style or just like?
Yeah. What did you
Yeah.
think of the writing style?
Oh, okay. It was good. It was definitely interesting because obviously they were using like slang and they were writing the way people actually speak, like
Right
loud.
now?
Yes, like currently.
Very
rather than-
slang people.
Yeah.
Maybe a certain.
Well, a lot of times when you read books, even modern books, or like when people talk, they still don't always write them the way that people actually speak.
Yeah, I can see that.
They like usually edit it. I mean, it's a little different than the character is
I could
monologuing
edit
in their
the way
head.
that I speak 100%.
Yeah.
'Cause
Exactly.
if I had more time to like contemplate and like
Process
put my
the
my
word.
sentences together, it'd be so nice. So they're just
I just
blurting
get a
things
little
out.
time to edit real quick before I finish that statement.
Let me generate a response.
So I did like the writing style, because especially when they spoke, because it was more real.
Yeah. And then how did you feel about the story engagement?
And the engagement was pretty good, because, well, it was funny. Like, I was laughing, so it made me want to keep reading it. So, engagement was good.
And then overall rating.
Overall rating, I'd probably give it a 3.5, give or take.
Yours? What do you think?
Writing style, it threw me. I think that it was a good twist to a D&D fantasy. I enjoyed the engagement. I liked the slow burn, the inner monologue with the troubling, just like inner conflict and inner turmoil of the whole situation between her being a hero and her wanting to be with Fallon, her love interest Fallon, but fighting it. Overall rating, I'd say 3.5, and it would be a 4, maybe. I don't know if it's a 4 worthy, but definitely 3.5. Could be a little bit higher because of
3 3/4.
3 3/4, 3.75, just because of how vulgar the spicy scenes were. Because I feel like it could have been more descriptive.
Tame.
It's not that. It's more like the writing. Like it could
Like
be
how they were written.
how it was written.
It's just like if they would change up the verbiage.
verbs and how it was.
Out of my brain.
I can't.
If they would have changed up the verbiage for body parts, it wouldn't
I
have
do see
been.
that.
And
Yeah,
so it wasn't
it's
really
not-
like necessarily the
What they were doing, or like
because that wasn't that crazy at all.
no,
That
it was
pretty
one scene,
vanilla,
basically.
honestly.
Yeah, but the way she was like describing
It
it.
was just aggressive. I feel
Yeah, I
like.
feel like it was trying to be so spicy
Yeah.
because of what the
It was like
words
shock
were.
factor.
Yeah.
Is what I felt like it was trying to happen. It did not do that for me.
The
It
words
shocked
were
me. It just icked me.
the words were spicier than the actual.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, there are other descriptive words that could have been, it doesn't have to be a P word every other word of the sentence.
Yeah, I don't know. The writing style was a little bit off for me at first too, but there were definitely funny parts. Engagement, I had a hard time with mainly because of that same thing. So I feel like it kept like kind of throwing me out. I always feel like I'm the one, but I would say
2.
2. Yeah, what's crazy is I was thinking about it during this whole talk that we just had because I think that I have enjoyed it more talking about it than I did actually reading the book. Like there was the funny parts of it for sure that I was like laughing, but overall I was just kind of like, I don't know, and I probably wouldn't read any of the other ones.
I wouldn't read any of the other ones. Just because I agree, it was hard to engage. I don't know, if there was one with the Usha, then I'd probably read that one, because I want to see some pirate ship mamas. But I agree with you. Yeah. It was,
Yeah.
but
It was
I'm gonna
fun.
give
It was
it
different. I'm
the
glad.
3.5.
I'm glad that we read it, especially because the cover was like so like a little bit enticing. It was like kind of funny, and so I am glad that we read it, and it was definitely outside of
Our spectrum,
something
for
that
sure.
we would have picked up. So I'm glad to have read it.
You're
but-
welcome.
I'm glad we branched out.
So that
brings
wraps
us-
up the time I got drunk and saved a demon. So
Thank you, Alyssa, for that gem.
You're welcome.
So, next week we have a drawing book. So you get a draw for us.
what we're gonna read next.
You like our jar?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
That was up.
It's probably the one you picked out.
No. Okay.
Oh.
That's one that I've been wanting to read too.
Yeah.
I think this one that I have in my TBR.
It's one of yours too?
I think so. Either that or was one similar to it.
Well, we're excited to read it. Well,
Nice.
subscribe for your weekly dose of barely holding it together. We'll see you next Sunday, babies.